Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honors to my apostles, great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials. Now, this is going to destruction and end of an age. It says, and talk with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And this is the Apostle John speaking. He said the angel told him to come hither, and he will show the Apostle John the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And this great whore represents America, Babylon the Great. Now it says that sitteth upon many waters. Now I'm going to jump down real quick to verse 15 for understanding on what are the waters, the many waters that the great whore sit upon. Revelation 17, verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, the whore is Babylon the Great, America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So the waters represents people, nations. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 13. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters. This is going into the great whore, America, Babylon the Great. It says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters. It says, abundant in treasures. Because America is known as a place of important and commerce, which is trading. These other nations, they make their money by importing their goods to America. It says, thine end is come, and thy measure, and the measure of thy covetousness. And the end of Babylon the Great, aka America, is coming in the near future. Revelation 17, verse 1 again. And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now we know the great whore is America. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. So destruction to the bloody city." Now, this verse was going into ancient Nineveh, but it could be referred to America. You know, America is in that same spirit as ancient Nineveh is, well, was, you know. So you read like past empires such as Sodom, Egypt, Babylon, you know, it refers to America. So I'm gonna read again. It says, Nahum 3:1, woe to the bloody city. And going to the word woe, it means destruction. It says to the bloody city, which is Babylon the Great. All right, this place is known, all right, for shedding a lot of blood, and this place have a lot of Israelite blood on its hands, and this is why destruction is coming to this place, America. It does say Yahweh Shem Hashah. It says it is all full of lies and robbery. Yeah, America is full of deceit. Full of false philosophies. You know, everyone believe, especially our people, you know, believe a lie. They believe in everything but the truth. And it says, in robbery, because Babylon the Great, America, is known for terrorizing other nations, basically bullying, you know. All they do is take. And most of all, they took the Lord's treasure, you know, which are the Israelites. It says, the prey departed not. And who will the prey? The nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right? We're the prey. You know, we're the number one nation on the menu. All right? But America have to pay for what she have done to the nation of Israel, both southern and northern kingdom. I'm going to jump down. Verse 4. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. And a harlot is a whore. And Babylon the Great is a well-favored harlot. You know, America had a great influence on these nations. You know, these nations, you know, follow the American culture and lifestyle. It says the mistress of witchcrafts, right? And a mistress is a woman that's in a position of authority or control. And it says of witchcrafts. It says that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. That's why America have to be destroyed. Scripture speaks about, you know, suffer not a witch to live. And this place, America, is full of nothing but witchcrafts and sorceries. And it says, and families through her witchcrafts. Now, real quick. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 10. It says, "And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them." Now this is going to the heathen nations. It said, those are the day, and it says they shall rejoice over them. Who are them? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. It says, "And make merry, and shall sing gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth." Right? So these heathen nations were passing us around, for example, transatlantic slave trade. We were being traded, for goods, right? Throughout the four winds of the earth. Joel 3 speaks about, these heathens. Let's get that real quick. Joel 3. It's Joel chapter 3. I'm going to start from the top. It says, "For behold, in those days, and in that time where I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." Now, when it says bring again, it doesn't mean that the Lord is going to put us back in captivity. Bring again is the Lord is going to restore the nation of Israel, both southern and northern kingdom. It says, "I will also gather all nations, I will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat." So this is what is about to happen in the near future. The Lord is going to gather the heathen nations that played the part in our destruction into the valley of Jehoshaphat. The Hebrew word is Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh judgment. And that judgment is going to be taking place in Saudi Arabia, in the river Euphrates. I believe Revelation 16 and 12 tells you that the river Euphrates is drying up. And if you look online, on YouTube, you see the river is drying up. And that's going to be the battlefield. That's going to be the where the war takes place. And all the heathens are going to be gathered to fight one another in World War III. Simultaneously, our Lord Yahweh Shah is going to crack the skies open with the holy chariots and deliver his elect and turn these heathen nations, their armies, into dust. Okay? But it says, "And will plead with them." And plead means to judge. "And will plead with them there for my people." Who's the Lord's people? It says, "And for my heritage, Israel." The nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who they have scattered among the nations and part of my land, right? And due to the curses, due to our disobedience, we were scattered throughout the four winds of the earth, north, south, east, and west, right? And these heathen nations played the part of that, all right? So they're going to be judged for that. It says, "And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold the girl for wine, that they might drink." So these heathens were doing all type of weird shit, It says a boy for a harlot. That's some spooky, sodomite shit they was doing. This is why they gotta pay. It says, "Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?" Which represents the so-called Africans and all the coast of Palestine, which are the so-called Arabs, because during the transatlantic slave trade, so-called Africans, along with the so-called Arabs, played a part in this transatlantic slave trade. If I'm not mistaken, the Arabs, they built the boats for us to be transported to America. It says, will ye render me a recompense? Recompense means payback. So the Lord basically saying, are you trying to take vengeance on me? It says, if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. And that's coming in the near future. And what's the fate or the destiny of the future for these heathen nations? Captivity. He that lead into captivity shall go into captivity. Revelation 13:10. It says, along with Jeremiah 30:16, all thy adversaries shall go into captivity. Let's get that real quick. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 16, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, nor thy adversaries, which mean enemies, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So it's a saying, what goes around comes around. This is the fate of the heathen nations. Slavery. Let's go back. All right. Joel chapter 3 verse 5, it says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried them into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. And this is literal. This is what the heathens did. They stole the precious treasures out of our temples. It says the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem represents the north, the southern. Judah represents the southern kingdom. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Jerusalem represents the northern kingdom. The tribe of Ephraim all the way down to the tribe of Issachar. It says the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. Who are the Grecians? The Edomites, so-called white race. Those are the Grecians. It says that ye might remove them far from their border, and that's what they did. They removed us from our homeland, which is the land of Israel. Right now you got imposters, you got the wannabes, the Jewish. You know, we're going to the word ish, it means to be like. So they parted us from, they removed us from our border, our homeland. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. As I mentioned, as I read in the scriptures, Jeremiah 30:16, this is the faith of the heathen nations. Let's get something else. Let's get Revelation 18. This Revelation 18, verse 12, it says, the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen, and purple and silk and scarlet and thine wood and all thine wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious wood, and of brass and iron and marble, and cinnamon and odors and ointments, and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses, and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Now, what I just read were all the goods that were transported, that were imported to Babylon the Great from these other heathen nations, right? But you see it says, and slaves and souls of men, right? So we was a part of that commerce, that trade, transatlantic slave trade, Jake was imported into this place. When I say Jake, represents the Israelites. We were brought here to serve our captivity, and we're in our captivity to this day. You're not on top. We're at the bottom. Servants upon horses. Let's get that real quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses. Right, these servants are these heathen nations, starting with Esau, Edom. So they're upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. And we're the princes, right? Yasha, he Prince of Power, right? We're the servants, slaves, right? As I mentioned, because of our disobedience, we're in the hands of our enemies, serving captivity. All right, but in the near future, the Lord is about to reverse this and recompense, pay back the heathen for what they have done. But I'm in here, Lord willing, you will edify. That being said, Shalom.